Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast blood.
What's up, gang? Welcome back to another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready. It's a new day. We got to go all in. All in. We're talking about going all in or don't even start. There could be no plan B. Right? I think I saw E.T. talking about this. There is no, you can't, plan B is the enemy of plan A. That's what's going to kill plan A, is when you got a plan B. Obsession creates greatness. Options destroy it. Okay, obsession creates greatness. Options destroy it. You know, Grant Cardone, and I know he's controversial. Okay, I'm just talking about a quote that I like. I think it was his book, Be Obsessed or Be Average. He had a quote in there that said, if you don't stay obsessed with where you're going, you will become the person you don't want to be. Lost, jaded, and wasting away. You got to be obsessed or you got to be average. This is what I think a lot of people don't get. We got to understand this, because the word, being obsessed has been given a negative connotation. But if you think back to anybody that's accomplished anything major, like greatness in any category, I don't care if it's starting a nonprofit. I don't care if it's building a nonprofit. I don't care if it's a business, if it's a sport, if it's an Olympic athlete, if you look at, I don't care if it's a talk show host, an actor, an actress, a singer, a dancer, whatever it is, if you find somebody that is great at it, where you really admire, it's like, man, this is amazing. Watching this is like a masterpiece, a work of art. That person is obsessed or was obsessed for a long, long, long time with that specific thing. And so if you want to be great, you got to avoid the noise of people saying you can't, do this, you can't be obsessed. You're going to have to get obsessed, in my opinion. You're going to have to go all in. You can't have 2 different options, 3 different options, and expect for plan A to just crush it, but you're really not even all in. You're thinking about 1 or 2 other things. Most people dabble. Like most people, the reason why they don't end up where they want to be is because they never truly committed to go all in anyway. They never decided. The greats decide and they go all in. They commit to, this is what I'm doing. I'm jumping in. I'm going all in. I'm going to obsess myself. I'm going to wrap my whole being about this. And in the obsession period of life, it's going to be what you're thinking about most of the time. If you pay attention, you'll see the people that are dabblers, they don't win. The obsessed people do. So look at your craft, wherever you're listening to this from. Think about your craft, or if you could point out any craft you could think of, and look at the people that got 2, 3 different things that they're trying to spread themselves to do, or they're not 100% committed to one thing, they're doing 2 or 3 different things, or they're dabbling, they're not like all in. And then look at the people that they seem like they're just obsessed, they're on almost nonstop, committed to whatever it is that they're doing. Think about who has the most amount of success. One of the main videos that made Eric Thomas, for those of you guys that do the motivation and stuff, E.T., Eric Thomas, go viral when he first started was, if you want success as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And, the whole example that he used of, there was a guy that wanted to get wisdom, wanted to get knowledge on how to be successful. And the guy said, meet me at the beach tomorrow at 4:00 in the morning. I believe that was the time. So the guy came to the beach 4 o'clock in the morning. He was dressed like I'm dressed right now, jacket, pants. He was dressed. And the guy made him get out into the ocean. Now, mind you, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to go there at 4 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to do this just being there at 4 o'clock in the morning would have wiped out most people because they don't want it as bad as they want to breathe. Like, I want it, but I don't want to be there at 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, nah. The person that wants it that bad, what they're trying to explain is you're going to, no matter what it takes, you're going to go. All right, so I'm there. And then the guy walks him out into the ocean and pushes his head under the water and holds his head under the water while he's struggling and can't breathe. He's holding his head under the water until he knew he wasn't going to drown him. And then he let his head go up, boom, pop up, and he took this big, deep breath. And then when the guy came up, they walked out. He said, what did you think about? What did you want to do when you were under the water? Only thing you could think about while you were under that water is to breathe. It's the only thing you thought about. No matter what it took, you would have tried to do it so you could breathe. It was all you thought about. And he said, when you want to be successful, as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And I mean, if you think about it, the reason why it hit so hard is because it's the truth. What he was talking about is obsession with your thoughts, obsessed of like, I'm not thinking about 3 different things. I'm not focused on, I'm just focused on breathing. When I want to go all in like that. And that was what the guru taught the guy. That was the lesson that he taught the guy. And so ask yourself right now, are you obsessed? If there's a gap between where you're at and where you want to be, are you dabbling? Have you cut off option B and went all in on option A? Are you obsessed? Even if you cut off B, are you obsessed in option A of like, how can I get better? What I got to do? I'm thinking about it all the time. And you got to be, like, I think a lot of being the best version of yourself and going to the next level is you trick your mind. And you got to trick your mind into understanding and thinking and believing and feeling. You have to think, I cannot afford to lose. And that's why you're going to win. Like, people that leave losing as an option, they get too comfortable with it. You know, I remember my grandfather saying one time, my grandmother was like, hey, you know, you're a bad loser. I lost in something. I was throwing a fit. My grandfather was like, hey, if you show me a good loser, I'll show you a permanent loser. You can't be too comfortable with losing. Real belief, if we're going to go all in and believe, like if you're going to go all in on something, you got to have real belief. But real belief requires total commitment without a safety net. I think that's the issue for people, is they don't go all in and fully immerse, because doing that, there's no safety net a lot of times. There's no guaranteed, hey, if I do this, I'm going to get this return for sure on this date, on this time, after this many hours, after this many weeks. There isn't that. There's no in writing safety net. And so it got to have a total commitment to it to go all in, but that's going to require belief before you get the result. Backup plans at times, like, hear me on this one, because this is what tricks people. Backup plans are fear disguised as wisdom. Oftentimes it's looked at as like, man, I'm just having wisdom with this backup plan, being wise. You know, there's a time and a place for that. I get it. But not when you're trying to go for greatness for yourself personally, to take something to the next level. You can't have backup plans for that. You got to like completely mentally lock in and block out all options of anything else failing or whatever. And I'm going all in. Comfort, that backup plan that provides you, it gives you comfort. Comfort is the enemy of progress. We know that there's no growth in our comfort zones. So let me ask you, you ever hear someone say, man, I'm going to try my best. I tried. Let me ask you, are you trying or are you fully committed? Like, we're going to get it done. Rain or shine, we're going to find a way. I'm fully committed stubbornly to this. Like, I'm committed to this, or am I just dabbling? Am I just trying? Trying is a suggestion. Commitment is a decision. Are you interested or are you committed? Interested is like the trying thing. Nothing drives me crazy, more sometimes when people start in the business and they're like, yeah, I'm going to try it out. Everybody knows what I say after that. You're not going to try it out. I say it's going to try you out. This is going to try you out. And if you're not committed and you got a plan B, when you get tried out, you're going to tap out. Like, you gotta understand you're living right now in all the decisions that you've made thus far. We got to make the right decisions. In the process of chasing a dream, it's not necessarily that we got to chase the dream. We got to be in the moment and make the right decision. The dream is tied to the level of commitment and ability to stay committed and locked in for long periods of time. Locked in means you got to block out. Lock in, block out. Lock in, block out. Lock in, block out the distractions. Block out the options of failure. Block out all those things. Because when you leave the back door open, quitting becomes an option. When I leave that back door open, it's like, yeah, I could retreat. I could just quitting. I'll leave that back door open. We got to think big. If the dream doesn't demand everything from you, it's not a big enough dream probably. If the dream don't require you to go all in, it's really not a big dream. Burning the ships, you've heard the term burn the ships. Burning the boats means you've removed the alternative of coming back without it. You hear people say, I'm with it or on it. With my shield or on my shield means I burn the boats. And I think that mindset, this mindset changes everything. This is an underestimated mindset for people that win. Is the mindset of, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to obsess myself. I'm going to go all in versus I left the back door open to quit. Quitting is a possibility. I'm going to keep my eye, maybe do two things, at one time. I'm going to try this, stuff out. Every day you got to recommit. There's going to be times where you got to renew your vows to what you got married to. You got to marry the game you're in if you want to go to that like crazy level of greatness. You got to marry the game. You got to commit to what it is that you're doing. Commit to go all in. And at times in that, there's going to be bumps. There's going to be bumps in the road. But how legacies are built is by you recommitting and trying to have this recommitment process. Every day we just commit to the commitment and go all in for that one moment, that day. So my recommendation for you guys out there is to go all in if you want to have a huge result. You know what I mean? It's one thing you're, for fun, or we're going to start something just for fun. And I know I don't have this high expectation of being a Hall of Famer or being great at it. That's fine. You could start, you could dabble in that a little bit. But if you want to be great, we got to go all in. We got to go all in. We got to have no plan B. We got to go completely immersed and obsessed with our craft and what we want to do, and you'll be on your way to greatness. All right. So we appreciate you. Speaking of greatness, you got to be pretty great of a person to say, I'm going to invest 15, 20 minutes of my time to try to grow and get better. Only other way you could be even better, because you're already that great. Think about what percentage of people are actually doing this, listening, working on themselves, trying to improve, trying to get better, investing the time. You're already great. is by being a giver. So if this ain't it, this ain't it. But if this is the message, or if any of the other messages have touched you or impacted you, or you know other people that we can impact, do us a favor, share it with that person so we can impact more people together. All right. We appreciate you as always. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the GRINDcast. Have a great day. Get ready. It's a new day.